Several dogs, which appeared to be pit bulls, were seen loose in the yard below. According to the LA County Sheriff's Department, a male resident was attacked by the pit bulls at this property on Thorson Avenue near Rosecrans.
So last month, tragedy has struck. A man in Compton unfortunately lost his life due to a mauling of his dogs. These are pit bull dogs, or American Bullies. Today we're going to go over a little bit of this story, and if you have a multi-pet household, how to prevent dog fights, how to take care of your dogs in a manner that could prevent fights. Now, this story has been going viral and is very unfortunate because this guy lost his life due to a mauling of his dogs. He was running a kennel in Compton, and I believe to say there was 13 dogs confiscated by the pound or the police when they found him. A total of 13 dogs is a large amount of dogs, especially for one person or one household. But as we go into details into this story, it looks like this person was feeding his dogs during some time of the day. And what had happened was there was an altercation between his dogs, and he tried to break it up. And unfortunately, they turned on him, which again is very sad to say. Now, this is where I see a big problem. The first problem that is very glaring to me is it's one man versus 13 dogs. And I'm not saying versus as you're always going to have confrontations with these dogs, but one person caring for 13 dogs in general, regardless if they're going to turn on you or not, is a hefty job, and it takes more than one person. So there's too much dogs. I understand he's running a business of breeding the dogs and selling them, but it's just way too much dogs for one person. The next thing is it looks like he was feeding his dogs all at once. I believe this is what caused the altercation between the dogs, because when you're feeding all those dogs all at once, it causes some food aggression, and they could do a lot of built up aggression towards each other. And then this is where dominance comes in. You know, this is where dogs actually, they really butt heads over stuff like this, especially for a resource that they find very valuable, such as food. Now, feeding them all at once is a big red flag. And this might apply to some of the people out there that have 2 to 3 dogs in their house. I do advise you to feed your dogs either in separate rooms or one at a time. It's possible to feed dogs as a pack, but this does take a lot of time, a lot of patience, and a lot of trustworthiness between the dogs, and a lot of training. So just something to consider. Today, I want to give you really valuable insights on how to break up dog fights and what to do if you're ever in the middle of a dog fight between your own dogs at home. Now, I'm going to give you a bunch of reasons why dogs may fight, and this is something you have to keep at the top of your head and always be aware of. First one is resource guarding. This is the one that's very obvious. They can fight over foods and toys. There's territorial behavior. There is dominance between dogs that, try to establish themselves between the pack. There's fear, aggression, especially when dogs that are very skittish, they may feel threatened. There's play escalation. There's lack of socialization. There could be some health issues with the dog that's experiencing like pain or discomfort, and they may grow irritable because of this. Or it could be sexual competition within the pack. Some signs for these are very obvious and some are not obvious. So you got to make sure you can evaluate your dog, making sure you know your dog from in and out, what they act like, and what they're showing signs of to prevent any kind of dog fight. Now, the safest way to break up dog fights. I know this sounds cliche, but the first thing to do is prevent the fight in the first place. This is what all these reasons that they may fight, you want to make sure you're looking at the signs for those. Another thing you do to prevent yourself from getting in the middle of this, and some people might say in the comments, man, that's not going to work, but it's something to try. You don't want to get bit in the hand. You don't want to lose a finger, and you should try these out. So the second one is make noise. All right. You want to make a very loud noise, clapping, shouting, or banging, but be wary that sometimes this can make them fight even more, and it's very unfortunate. You got to know your dogs. Another one is you could use a barrier in between the dogs, maybe a large piece of cardboard, a chair, a large piece of plastic like a bin lid, in order to like guard yourself from getting bit. Or you could put it in between them and try to get in between them, especially if they have a break between bites. You could try using the water method, spraying your dogs, maybe even spraying them in the nose. Sometimes they get startled with that. Another method you could try, and I really advise you to do this last option, is try to get a hold of the collar. Or what you could do is put a leash around your dog like a slip lead. And when dogs end up losing their air, they're going to stop biting because they need air in order to keep living, obviously. There's a lot of ways to go about this, but these are the safest ways that I could think of for you in case your dogs are ended up fighting in the house, or if you might experience yourself in the situation. Hopefully not. Now, the next steps after your dogs are fighting, what you want to do is obviously making sure they're calm and separated, but you do want to assess the dog. You want to make sure there's no major injuries. They may need to go to the vet, and they may need to get evaluated, put on antibiotics if there's punctures, and so on and so forth. That is the obvious stuff. But one thing I do want to cover is it's not going to be how it was before they fought, which means they have to eventually grow into themselves again, to trust one another, to not fight each other anymore. It's not just like me fighting with my brothers. Let's say we get into a little shoving match or a fist fight. You know, we may forgive each other really quick. Dogs are not like this. They're not rational like humans. So it's going to take a little bit of buildup. And I've seen a lot of people talk about, or professional trainers talk about how you could do this. Now, one thing that people do is you could walk your dogs with each other. Let's say you have a partner, you walk your dog, you know, you're walking parallel dog to dog, and you're making sure they're not interacting with each other, but they're still walking with each other and they're being cordial. That's one way to start building up a little bit of that trust again. And there's so much more methods, but that's one way to start in case your dogs ever get into a fight. I hope this brought value to you, and I hope that, you know, everything goes smoothly. Unfortunately, this man lost his life, and I'm very sorry for the family. Prayers up to them, and just hope this brings value to you as a dog owner. If you like this video, comment below any suggestions or any training tips that you might have for other subscribers. I will see you on the next one. I am out.